So okay, here's the amp I'm going to use. It's a KACM 1804 Kenwood, 400 watts, 45 amps, or I mean RMS a channel. So just got that today. And then here's the bracket that I made. It's going to go on my Glide. Kind of got my Glide all tore apart. I'm doing some powder coating, blacking out a bunch of stuff, but anyhow, this bracket I built, hopefully it's going to work. It goes right in here. Mounts on those two bolts. Goes right by this electronic component. Kind of sits in there like that. And hopefully my amp will mount right on here and behind here. Got the adapters put in place, ready for the 6.5s. I should have them by today or tomorrow. So while it's kind of raining, bad weather, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit more on the Glide. So let's mount our amp and put it in place. So I got it going back together. This is the speaker mount, the 6.5. You know, these little deals here need to go down on a Road Glide for your speaker to fit. Otherwise, it'll up here at the top, it'll hit your fairing, or your speaker will be out too far against your fairing. And anyhow, it was kind of deceiving. I put it on like 3 or 4 times before I figured out that it needed to go down. The widest part, this is the wide part, it goes down. But anyhow, I got my wiring going together, zip tying some of it, but I took my speakers and ran into 2 channels. The amp's a 4-channel, so I ran off my speaker. I tied in with 2 channels right here into my original speaker wire. Just took some spades, connected them, and then used the RCA jacks, obviously. So that's how it's turning out. Pretty good. Here's the main connector coming up here. It's split off. This is the other one, the other side. Same thing. Here's my connectors for my wiring, tied in on the left side channels, both tied in with 1 channel coming out of my stereo. And then of course my speaker wires, upper and lower. And then my power wire. On this amp, you only need to hook up the power wire and a ground. Your stereo will do the rest of the work for you. So right here, this big red wire, actually the black and green is the ground, the red is the power wire. So you can just tie in a yellow to red, then black to black and green, and your power is done. So coming back together. So here's the other thing I did. Put some double-sided tape on here. It's for you know, adhesive moldings and stuff. I put that on this adapter so that my speaker, when it sets up there, it doesn't buzz, because the metal to the speaker right here, this edge, is going to be to hard plastic right here, and it might, if it ever gets loose, it might buzz and make kind of a rattling sound. So I put this double-sided tape all the way around here to stop it from doing that. Okay, so while I've been working on my Harley, I've had some issues with down in here, you know, like paint peeling around these edges. Like very not good prep for whoever painted these, whether it was Harley or an aftermarket guy. So I back tape this. That's what this is called, where you can see just the leading edge kind of back. That's called back taping. Doesn't matter how wide or narrow it is, just as long as it covers the back side. And then I've sanded it with 400 all down in there pretty good. So what I'm going to do is black that out, and hopefully it'll look a lot better, because that's kind of bothered me all along with this bike, because you can see like right here where it was starting to peel here, peel down in here, you know, just as bad preparation for whoever painted it. So we're going to touch this up so maybe the bike will look a little bit better while I'm doing the install on the 6.5 inch speaker pods. So there they are. They're finished, ready to be reinstalled. Looks pretty nice. All you'll see is a little bit of black on the edge, and hopefully these will, since I sanded it real good, hopefully that black will stay on there. So these are the pods, aftermarket 6.5s with the fairing deflector installed. Same process as I did on the other video. Washer top and bottom, piece of rubber fuel line, and then tighten it up until it kind of has a nice little pop to it, but not real aggressive on the pop of adjusting your fairing vent. And then also I went ahead and painted a set of the speaker covers, grills. These are, I don't think the silver would look too good, so I had two sets, because I put a set on the top with no grills, but I had an extra set, so I decided I'd paint one set black and then leave one set silver, and then see how it looks when I get ready to mount it all together. I think the black's gonna look a little better. So the paint that I used, you know, is just this satin. It's got a little shine to it, but what I do to knock that shine down is put you a coat on there, get it covered, not real wet where it's running, but just a nice solid coverage coat, and then let it sit and flash for about 10 minutes, and then get back about 2 feet, 18 inches, 2 feet, and then just dust it. Put a light dust coat on the whole thing, and then it'll dull it down, give it a tiny bit of texture and flatness to where it kind of looks like maybe it's a little OE, you know. I mean, if you look at the color here and texture here to there, I didn't paint the vent. I just painted the top piece, so it's real close to the same sheen and shine as the vent lower. So maybe it'll look good. So I bought these 1/4 inch rubber grommets from the local hardware store. So took these, and then I slotted this edge right here, drilled me a hole access for my wiring to go into my speaker pod. So down on the bottom you can see there's a drain hole, so there's no need in worrying too much about how much water gets in there. It'll drain out, but I put this little grommet around there so it'll look a little finished once my wiring and pods and everything are complete and in place. I slotted this hole a tiny bit with a Dremel. I actually Dremeled this out also to fit the grommet, but I made a little kind of a slot to that, so if it's got you know, spade connectors for connecting the wiring to the speaker, they'll go through there with no issue. Okay, so there it is. Got it back on. The paint was a little too shiny for me. It looked a little out of place, so I took a little bit of flat clear and just sprayed over real lightly to make it have kind of a factory sheen to it. So kind of got temporarily, I've got my wires ran in there. You can see where they are. Still got to put a little shrink wrap on them, but I just wanted to put them in place, kind of get a measurement of where it's going to be. So that's my wires. I'm going to zip tie it. As soon as I shrink wrap all this, I'll zip tie all this together. I went, this right here is about 2 inches over, and level with that coming up is 1.5 inches. So that kind of give you an idea. And then I used that same little rubber grommet to kind of finish that off, give it a finished look. So there it is. Got everything kind of zipped up and zip tied up real nice and neat. Got my power wire attached. I went ahead and ran my negative over to this side instead of it being real close to the connection right here with the power, so it didn't for some reason ever arc. And then zip tied everything back up nice and tight. And then this side's the same exact way. I'm gonna shrink wrap all this, run it together, zip tie it, and then tie it in kind of real close to where the turn signals connect. Same thing, over 2, up 1.5 inches. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to run, I took my cigarette lighter out, connection out, because I don't smoke cigarettes. But I'm going to go inside this compartment and I'm going to relocate it up into here so that, you know, when you got your phone or whatever, iPods or whatever, you can connect to the power inside there. And then if you've got Bluetooth, then it'll just Bluetooth out of that compartment. So it'll be right up inside that front area, and then it'll be concealed. Only thing I'll have to do is just somehow finish this off with a plug of some kind that'll look good. But there they are. Looks pretty good. These are the aftermarket pods. I did have to take some number 10 washers, and because when you sucked it up tight, it wanted to kick all this out and go inside here because it mounted too short. So I took some number 10 washers, 3 on the bottommost mounting areas, both sides, and then 2 up on top, in between here and here, the mounting surfaces. And that gave me pretty much kind of a really nice measurement and kept it as nice as it could be for being aftermarket. So it ended up fitting pretty nice as best you can get it. So anyhow, there it is. Looks pretty good. The black in here finished up pretty nice. It kind of gives it a finished look, without all that peeling off there and looking like crap. I want to give y'all one more look. Here's what I ended up finishing with, the black speaker grills. It turned out real nice. And then on the fairing, I did buy some foam baffles, and then I used this piece right here is the shim and extra mounting bracket that came with the speakers. So I just slipped that over my foam baffle and then attached it like normal with the screws. And one thing about having that double-sided tape between your speaker and this piece here is that once I took my screws out, the speaker didn't fall off and all fall apart. It held it in place, and then all I had to do was just put this up to it and screw it into place. So that finished that, and then finished covering my wires and zip tying them up into place, you know. So it's all ready. So all I have to do now is just I got my custom dynamics trim for my windshield, and my fairing is ready. So I'm gonna do the install on those pieces there, put those in place, and then I'll be done.